Good morning. I'm the Reverend Amy Zucker Morgenstern. My pronouns are she or they, and you are very welcome here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Palo Alto. We gather our different paths entwined to deepen our spiritual lives, nourishing connection, learning from each other, caring for each other, tending to our world. If you're here in person and you have questions about Unitarian Universalism, do stop by the welcome table with the blue tablecloth and chat with Kathy there. She can probably answer your questions or find you someone who can, and you can leave your contact information there if you have more questions. I believe Anne is online today to greet people who are coming. If you don't get a special greeting, online newcomers, follow the link in the order of service to UUCPA.org, and you will find all that information there, including how to get more information as events come up. Speaking of events, lots of holiday events, including our holiday bazaar today. So do not miss out. Make sure to take one of these, or again, check the online version, which is right there on the front page of our website, so that you can find out about all the holiday stuff that is going on over the next few weeks. A couple other announcements. Empty Nest, which appears in your order of services happening today, is actually going to be next Sunday. So if you are starting to see your little ones leave the nest, whether it is completely empty or not, and you want to connect with other parents in that situation, come next week and be together. And finally, the choir has an announcement. Thank you for that wonderful underture choir. Author, Florence Haas, our composer, is right here. And if you didn't get all the details about Undie Sunday from that too is here in your holiday events. And now, let us begin our service. We light our chalice today with a poem by UUCPA member Gary Rosen, Beacon. If you have a chalice there with you at home, please light it with us. I light this chalice that its flame may be a beacon of hope for a better world. A world of courage and compassion, justice and mercy. A world of strength and solace, honor and forgiveness. A world of freedom and fellowship, charity and peace. With our centering words each week, we draw on the many sources of our living tradition. Today's words are from contemporary Nigerian novelist and poet Ben Okri. What hope is there for individual reality or authenticity when the forces of violence and orthodoxy, the earthly powers of guns and bombs and manipulated public opinion make it impossible for us to be authentic and fulfilled human beings? The only hope is in the creation of alternative values, alternative realities. The only hope is in daring to redream one's place in the world, a beautiful act of imagination and a sustained act of self-becoming. As we follow the sound of the bell into silence, we allow ourselves time to reflect on those words and what brought us here today, and feel ourselves arrive here fully.
Good morning. I'd like to invite all those who are young or young at heart to join me up on this colorful quilt for a story of the season. Hey, Izzy, come on up. Hello. So December is really exciting. There's a lot of holidays that happen in this month. One holiday is Christmas. Another is Hanukkah. Another is Kwanzaa. We have the winter solstice. We have so much going on in December. So our story today is about two of the holidays happening during this season. And this story is a true story. And it is about how we can do what's right even when it's really, really scary. So this story is called Red and Green and Blue and White, and it is by Lee Win, and it's illustrated by Paul Osolinsky. Hello, good morning, my friends. Oh, Margot's got a pig. Excellent. All right, so in this story, on a block dressed up in red and green, one house shone blue and white. Do you see the blue house? Yeah. Isaac helped his family decorate their big window for Hanukkah. Across the street, his best friend Teresa helped her family trim their Christmas tree. Oh. Isaac wrote poems, bless you, and Teresa made art. They loved playing in the snow, counting down until the holidays, and thought you couldn't have too many sprinkles on a cookie. I agree with that. When it got dark, Teresa flipped the switch, and her house glowed red and green. You see the Christmas tree? Across the street, Isaac lit his family's decorative menorah, and his house glowed blue and white menorah light. Later, when it was dark and everybody was asleep, shadows approached Isaac's house. Smash! The window shattered. A stone. Shards of glass were falling, and Isaac, wide awake now, watched their menorah flicker out. The adults talked and talked. "You'll sleep in our room for now," his dad told Isaac and his sister. And Isaac's mom asked, "Should we light the menorah again?" If they didn't, Isaac knew it would be like hiding they were Jewish, and that didn't feel right. So the next night, Isaac lit the menorah, and through the new window, his house glowed. Across the street, Teresa watched the menorah come on and let out a breath she hadn't known that she was holding in. She took out her paper, her markers, and drew. And what did she draw? She drew a menorah for Isaac. And when she was done, Teresa added 2 words and put the drawing up in the window. "For Isaac." Through the paper, the light shone blue and white. And Isaac, he saw the drawing, and he ran outside, and he said, "Blue and white menorah light from 2 homes tonight." And this idea of Teresa's, it was magical. It grew, and with more friends and more drawings, and then they got their school involved and the library. And local stores joined in, and restaurants and clubs, and it was even on the TV and in the newspaper. And 3 weeks after Isaac and his family stood tall, and Teresa and her family stood up by their side, the whole town was dressed up to celebrate the true spirit of the holidays, the true meaning of community. And would you look at that? For more than 10,000 windows came all this light. Christmas tree, red and green and blue and white menorah light, stronger together and brighter together. We can show the last page. Look at them celebrating together, the true meaning of the holidays. Thank you for listening to my story. We are going to, please join me now in singing. When the Spirit says do, you can use the teal hymnal. Its number is 1024, but we're going to sing slightly different words, so keep an eye on the screen or on the online order of service. And then afterwards, I invite all my friends to come to religious education.
I will keep the chalice lit only in spirit. It seems a little smoky to me.
Usually it looks like that when the batteries exchange, they leave the battery contained.
Would you go up and do that for us right now? All right, let's resume with verse 2. Verse 2. Give us a little intro for us. notice when we lit the chalice that it seemed a little smokier than usual. So if we get another warning, we'll practice our fire drill. Okay. It might be. So we might be better inside, even if there's a fire. No. Terrible, terrible. I did not say that. Okay. The air quality is not good today. It's good for us to take a little time now and then to recommit ourselves to our most cherished values. And the whole service is devoted to that today. But at this point in our service, about once a month, we recall in the privacy of our own beings any places that we may feel that we fell short, that we weren't quite who we wanted to be in the last few weeks. And this is a time for us to recommit, to meet ourselves with compassion, to recognize that perfection is not the goal, but just to notice when we want to follow our values more closely. With the same kindness we would bring in our most patient moments to our most beloved friend, let us meet ourselves and say, here's what we're going to try to do next time. Give everybody a moment to recall any of those moments now. We are so fortunate to have the strengths of this community and all the accumulated wisdom of our tradition to help us be the people that we want to be. So let us say together the words of the Unitarian Universalist shared values that we chose as a denomination this year, and that will be up on the screen here. I'll begin. As Unitarian Universalists, we draw from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. Inseparable from one another, these shared values are interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence. Pluralism. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. Justice. We work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. Transformation. We adapt to the changing world. Generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. Equity. We declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. May our commitment to these values fill our lives with love. Now let us join in singing Once to Every Soul and Nation. It's number 119 in the gray hymnal, and the words are on screen and in your online order of service. I invite you to get in whatever position of body, eyes, helps you to awaken your imagination. I know some people are very visual thinkers, and some people draw a complete blank in visual terms inside their minds. So use whatever senses help you to imagine. We are meditating on our core values, trying to zero in on just one each. And I'll go through a couple of different scenarios to help you envision your core values. So, if one doesn't really take you there, you'll have another chance. First, just do whatever helps you. Get both feet on the ground, sit up straight, close your eyes, open your eyes, and focus lightly. Whatever helps you center. And imagine someone you respect greatly. Maybe it's somebody you know personally. Maybe someone from history. Maybe you can hear their voice or remember something that you did with them. Picture them speaking or acting. And if a few people are coming to mind, choose one that just comes to mind as, I deeply, deeply respect this person. The one about whom you think, I want to be more like them. So when you have this person in mind, I ask you to think, what are they like? What words would you use to describe them? If somebody wanted to know what's so admirable about them, how would you explain? Let those words or those images, those moments of their being particularly worthy of your respect and admiration, let those just float up into your consciousness. And again, if there are a few, let them float and see if one of them matters most to you. What one value do you admire most? That's exemplified by this person. Another way. Let's go in memory to a time when you were really proud of yourself. Maybe others were proud of you too, but that doesn't matter. When did you feel that you were being exactly who you most wanted to be, the kind of person that you aspire to be, the kind of person you respect? Feel that self-respect and follow it to the values you were embodying at that moment. See if one rises to the position of most prominence. And finally, you may have a good hold already on a value that you can say, yes, this is my core value. But if not, let's try this meditation. We are peeking in at your memorial service. You are very happy to be hearing what you most want to hear as people share stories. People you admire and respect are sharing admiring, respecting stories about you. What do they say about you? What word is used to describe you the most that is making you smile right now and makes you think, I lived well? These words emerging are your core values. So again, if you are hearing or seeing or sensing more than one, weigh them and see if you can decide, just for now, which is the most central to who you want to be, who you are at your best moments, who you are when you respect yourself the most. And now let's return to our usual sitting, aware selves. If you didn't emerge with a word with one value, it's okay. I know for some people, 5 minutes and aloud is not what works for them. There are, however, a lot of exercises out there, and I urge you after this service to go and look one up on the internet or in a book and find what would help you identify a core value for yourself. Long ago, in a galaxy far, far away, a would-be emperor rose to power, seized power. In the chamber of what had been the Senate, he declared that the Republic was now to be ruled by force with himself as the dictator. He had overthrown the enemies, the Jedi. And as the chamber erupted, one of the Republic's most fervent supporters observed, "So this is how liberty dies," with thunderous applause. It is often thus in our own time and our own galaxy as well. And this is why in this walk through our benediction, line by line, a 10-part lesson in how to fight totalitarianism when we see it arising around us. There are at least two principles we have to balance. One has gotten a lot of attention from me in the last few weeks, and that is not to demonize others and to keep our hearts and our ears open to all the complexity within the people whose positions we oppose fervently. That's the one hand. And the other hand is to fervently proclaim what we, in this moment and the best that we have been able to determine, believe is true and right. On February 27th, 1933, a fire overtook the German parliament building, the Reichstag. This blow to democracy created a crisis, to which the government responded the next day with another, harsher one. It imposed martial law, suspending citizens' rights such as the right not to be detained without charge. 5 days after that, the frightened people voted the Nazi Party into power over parliament. And 18 days after that, the new parliament passed an act which enabled Adolf Hitler to rule by decree. Bits and pieces here are quotes, and the book I am referring to today is On Tyranny by Timothy Snyder, which I recommend. The very institutions that Hitler and his party disabled cheered his victory. And the very people whose power and rights he took away, in many cases, applauded thunderously. They did not regain their democracy until 12 years had passed, and 80 million people had perished. But Snyder and other historians and political theorists want us to know it didn't have to be that way. It wasn't inevitable. It wasn't the only way for the story to unfold. And while history never exactly repeats itself, certain phenomena come up again and again, and we can look at other possibilities for how the story might unfold, how we might help the story to unfold by standing up like those neighbors of Isaac who suffered anti-Semitism. That was in Billings, Montana, as Kat said, a real story. Other ways the story can play out. In South Korea, just this week, we saw a leader who was under pressure, accused of corruption, and opposed by a majority in the parliament, declare martial law. He called the opposition party's elected representatives a den of criminals and surrounded the parliament building with heavily armed soldiers. In defiance of martial law, thousands of people acted as if they still had their rights, which they did, because rights are something a government can honor or violate, but it can neither grant them nor take them away. The people of South Korea have the right to speak openly about their government, and thousands of them poured out to do that. What a moment. Congress is surrounded by armed guards. The Constitution has been suspended. You don't have a right to a lawyer, to speak freely. You can be taken off to jail and not heard from again. And you go there and protest. Respect. They poured into the grounds of the National Assembly. And one woman grabbed the barrel of the gun a soldier was pointing at her. He ordered her to move, but she remained planted in place, shouting, "Aren't you ashamed of yourself?" This image, the bulk of this young, large, armored soldier turning away, and the slim, middle-aged woman without a helmet, without a weapon, just a suit like you'd wear to your job in the assembly, holding her ground. That's something to hold on to. It's not people in a story or a movie. It's not people decades ago who it's hard to even remember that they were just real, ordinary people making decisions as their government went crazy. It was in our world, a nation just like ours, a few days ago. I suppose it's possible for a would-be dictator to take power and suspend or end democracy through sheer force. I suppose, but it isn't what's happened in any case that I can think of. A dictator is just one person, after all. To terminate the rights of millions, he needs the cooperation of a cabinet, elected officials loyal to him instead of to his nation's constitution, a military that likewise forgets to whom they have sworn their fealty, and the approval or at least capitulation of a lot of the people. Resistance at any step of the way could be enough to defeat his plans. What's scary is that we don't know when that will be. Could have been a massacre there in Seoul. That young man could have shot that woman dead or struck her hard across the face. He turned away. So it takes courage, as we spoke of last week. In South Korea, the soldiers tried to keep the opposition party from taking their seats, but they voted anyway, some climbing the fence just to get to their seats and speak their ayes and nays. And then we watched. We waited. We didn't know what would happen between in exchanges like that one that was caught on video. We didn't know whether Yoon would obey or defy. The law was, as we were rapidly being filled in on such issues as South Korean constitution and law, that he had to yield once the parliament voted, no martial law. We overruled the president. Well, was he going to back down? The firmness of the people helped turn the tide there. They could have signaled that he had their support, and I'm sure he had some. But enough spoke out, laid their lives on the line, or just protested from wherever they were. to declare their opposition. And so he surrendered. And the democracy lives another day. So what does it take to resist totalitarianism and turn it back? Well, guides such as Timothy Snyder's are useful. He is distilling much of what he's observed mostly in 20th century Europe and around the world, and also distilling the teachings of one of the great observers of totalitarianism and political theorist, Hannah Arendt. And it's clear that one of the things that makes a difference, one of the things that turns totalitarianism away, even when the guns are on its side, is people who do what we urge ourselves to do every week when we take hands at the end of the service. Hold fast to what is good. The people in South Korea this week, they knew not just what they were against, but what they were for. They knew what they valued, and they held on to it tight. So this is a moment to recall our meditation from before the anthem and what core value came to you. There are lots of good ones. We don't all have the same thing in our mind right now. So again, in the privacy of your own imagination, I'd like you to activate that core value. I'll give you some let's supposes. Let's supposes that I wish were very far-fetched, but sadly I don't believe are. Let's suppose police come to your workplace and they demand that anyone without citizenship or visas come with them. What is your value telling you you should do? A transgender person in another state needs medical care that they can't get there. It has been cut off. It's not legal for them to access it. And they say, could I come to California? I need to stay there for some weeks to get the care I need. That core value you identified, what is it urging you to do? There's a government agency proposing to cut Medicare to the point that you or many of your neighbors, people you care about, people you've heard about, are going to lose a great deal of their health care. What does your core value tell you to do? None of this is asking for a white paper, a fully thought out political action plan. Just in your heart of hearts, you have this value that is so important to you, so important to who you are and what you want to be in the world. And here is the world. As they meet, what are you hearing? Another government agency is saying, all those mandates about vaccines that children have to have before they go to school, for example, we're going to roll those back. We have some remedies like ivermectin that we would like to use our agencies to promote, and they start doing that. What does your core value tell you to do? there's a protest somewhere. It's rowdy. Some of the people break windows, damage property, and the government sends a branch of the military to surround them, to patrol their streets. What does your core value urge you to do, to say, to be in this moment? This is where so many attempts at totalitarian rule have foundered. They have met up with people's core values. That said, each in their own way. No further. That's where it ended. And this is when it starts. This is where it starts. When we take hands, when we make the pledge, when we hold fast. So may we do. And we don't have to do it alone. We have the strength of this community. That strength is only us. We fund it, we built it, the people before us built it, we maintain the buildings, the staff, the space, the activities that help us come together and help us be the people we want to be. And that's why members or friends will make an annual pledge. That's the bulk of how UUCPA does everything it does. Symbolically, we also give an offering when we gather to remember that we want to practice the generosity to ourselves as well as to our wider community, to the people gathered here, to create what we need to be the people and make the world that we want to see. So you can use your QR code, text to give. All the information is there in your order of service. Or give cash or check to the basket as it comes around here if you're here in person. Thank you. Thank you for your generosity. This next song is a prayer, and I would say when we sing to the spirit of our lives, we are singing to the value that we just identified. I invite you to please sing, rise and body your spirit, and we'll sing Blessed Spirit of My Life, which is in the gray hymnal number 86. The words are here. Please be seated. we go. Please stay. We have second Sunday lunch. Make conversation in line. Make conversation online if that's where you are. And if you are online now, please unmute yourself, turn on your video if you wish, and you might touch hands virtually while we all touch hands here in whatever way we are comfortable as we say together our benediction. Go out into the world in peace. I'm still getting over this cold.